Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Roll. So as you recall from our last video, I had completely stripped down the cat's room in preparation for doing the painting and moved everything kind of into the guest bedroom. You know, pulled the door off the wall, pulled the blinds down, pulled the curtains down. Those are those funky little shelves that were in there. I took the blades off the fan. Moved all the tools, all the electrical outlets and stuff like that, all the faceplate covers, all that fun stuff. That's all in here, and now we are going to go over to Home Depot and we're going to buy some paint and some supplies to paint that room. So let's go to Home Depot. Alright, so I'm back from Home Depot. I chose a color that was very, very similar to the cat's room in California. It's this kind of mint green color. And so I got 2 gallons of that, and I got also 2 gallons of the ultra white, which is what I'm going to paint on the roof. What I'm going to paint, paint the crown molding, the accents, and the baseboards, and probably the door too. Probably both doors, because I'll probably paint this one too, just because I kind of want to have everything kind of the same in here. So the next big step now, before we do any painting, is we have to mask everything off, because we got this beautiful floor in here, and the last thing I want to do is drip paint all over it. So I got some of this builder's paper, painter's paper, and a lot of masking tape, and so let's mask this floor off. Now I tend to do my masking a little different than some people do. What I'll usually do is I'll actually run along the mask line with the masking tape, and then we'll put the paper over it. The issue I've found is the edges of this paper are perfectly straight, but sometimes the walls aren't. They tend to wobble a little bit. Because I think sometimes you get, you know, the 2x4s that make the framing inside, they're not always perfectly straight, and the drywall bends a little bit. And so I usually kind of line it with masking tape first and then put the paper on top of that. And so that'll look a little something like this. So this is what I mean by pre-masking it with the tape. And now we can put the painter's paper on top of that and tape that down. And you have to, since there is a little bit of wobble on the walls here, which I was able to follow with the masking tape, now there won't be that much wobble, that the paper won't be just perfect now. So now I'm going to go coat the rest of the place with paper, and I'll show you what that looks like. Alright, so I got the floor completely masked up, ready to go. I've wiped off the walls now, gotten the excess plaster cleaned off. It's all ready to go. And I think we are ready to start painting the ceiling. And I think we're going to, like I said before, I think we're going to do the ceiling first. See, I got that masked up really well. I think we're going to do the ceiling first, because then once the ceiling is done, all we have to do is just work our way down. See, sometimes when you do the ceiling first, if you get any drips and it drips on the wall, then you still got a chance to paint over the wall. You paint the wall first and then do the ceiling, get any drips, and you got a mess. So I'm going to start off painting the ceiling in this place. Alright, so the trick to just getting good coating is just taking big, long strokes. Now in this case, I'm actually overlapping a little bit on the crown molding, and that's fine. We're going to clean that up at some point. But what you want to do is kind of take big, overlapping strokes like this. Go back and forth a bunch of times until you get a good, smooth coating. Alright, the ceiling may not look much different, but it's actually a lighter white, and it isn't a flat white, which was there. This is more of a semi-gloss, so it's going to help reflect light a lot too, so that's a good thing. That's why I kind of like doing this in these rooms. So next thing I got to do now is let's hit the walls. Alright, about 2 hours and 2 coats later, we are pretty much done with the raw painting. I try and do as much of this as I can with a roller, because you get a much more consistent coat. But unfortunately, sometimes you have to go, you know, down the corners and stuff like that with a brush. So I've gone all the way around. Basically, I need to come back in here now. Probably I'll do this tomorrow. I'll come back in and paint the framework, paint the crown molding on the top, the baseboards below, the door jambs and all that, going all the way around. But yeah, 90% of the work is done. I think it looks pretty good. This is pretty much almost the same identical color that I had in the cat room back in California. So I think I hit the color pretty close. I didn't remember exactly what it was called because it was like 15 years ago that we painted that. But I think it turned out pretty good, and come back tomorrow, touch up the crown molding and all the framework, and put it all back together, and we should be in business. So that's all that I have for today. Come back next time and we'll show you the finished product here. We'll show you us doing the trim work. Like I said, I still want to paint that door again and get all the trim work done and just do some touching up. But we're pretty much done now. So that is all that I think I have for today. Thank you as always for watching, and I will see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.